On the Green with DFC, I'm Jason Gilbo. With me is Chris Etherington, taking a look at the Genesis Open tournaments on DraftKings. We're looking, here early on, and pricing. The first thing that you said to me was pricing was, pretty soft this week again.
Yeah, last week they were good with the pricing, but then this week they decided to go back to being a lot more soft. It seems like this week that you could easily fit two top guys and find two guys below 7,000 and just have pure stars and scrubs type of lineup for this week.
Yeah, we were getting into kind of lineup construction and how we're going to go about. We'll get to it in a little bit, but there's a tier kind of in that lower 8K range where there just seems to be a lot of action.
Yeah, you got guys like Justin Rose, and they're at 8,400. You've got Bubba Watson right below him. You got Charles at 81. And then Patrick Reed is at the start at 88. So it's a lot of pick and choose the guys that you're most comfortable with for the week.
Yeah, certainly. And, as far as top options go, in your article this week, you talk about Dustin Johnson, but you're also in on Matsuyama yet again.
Yeah, Matthew has really good course history here. He's played here the last 3 years, and he hasn't missed a cut. And also with his recent form, he has 3 wins in his last 6 events. So I know everyone is going to pick on Spieth because of his win last week. And with the soft pricing, it's very doable to go with Spieth and then pick like a Adam Scott or Jason Day or even Sergio for that matter, and pick 2 guys below 7,000. So I'm fading Spieth for the week, and going with Matsuyama and also Dustin Johnson as well.
Yeah, there's $1,100, $1,200 differences between those, 2 guys in Spieth as well.
Yes, Spieth is very expensive for this week. He's the first one to creep up the 13,000 mark for the year, and I still believe that people are going to pay up for him just because of his recent form. I think DJ might be overlooked. Same with Adam Scott. This is Adam Scott's first tournament of the year since the playoffs for the U.S. soil anyway. So with that being said, I think Matsu and DJ might be a good tournament plays for the week.
And as we kind of trend down here into the 9K range, there's only 2 guys in the 9K, and then we get the big drop off. Justin Thomas, Sergio, do those guys intrigue you at all?
I really like Sergio for this week. He came off a win in Dubai. Recently, he just got engaged, so people are saying that now that he's more happier in his life, that he'll actually maybe try that extra year and win a little bit more. Some people are actually saying that he might win a major this year, and I'm one of those people. I think he might contend the British Open this year. So at 9,300, I think Sergio is a fine tournament play as well.
So we got the newlywed narrative going here for Sergio then.
Exactly. Yep.
And then we get to the big drop off in this 8K range where I feel like this spot's probably going to make all the difference. Kind of choosing the right guys in here, because I feel like they could cut into ownership from some of these guys a little bit. So you were talking, Bubba Watson, former winner. You're not really looking to use him. You like Justin Rose at just $100 more.
Yeah, Justin Rose to me is like the first example where this week's pricing is very soft. Normally Rose is up there with big guys over 10,000 mark, but at 8,400, Rose course history here is top notch. I believe he only has no missed cuts um, and his recent greens his percentage is near that 75% mark. Um, so I think I'll pick him over Bubba, who I think will be a little bit more popular because he's won here twice in the last 3 years. He's going to try to win his third win, which will be he'll be the first guy to do it for that tournament. So I think people are going to take that narrative and go towards Bubba for the league. So I think Bubba will be a little bit more popular in this range.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's been pretty popular to start out the year here, and we haven't really seen a great performance out of him really yet this season outside of the Hero World Challenge. But outside of that, I mean, it's been nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he missed the cut at the Phoenix Open. He's said that he doesn't like that course. He doesn't like the people there. It gets to his head. So not surprising that he missed the cut. And then the tournament before that was the Tournament of Champions, and he was near dead last in that tournament. So those are the only two tournaments of the year for him. I'm staying away until further notice on him.
Another guy that you've just been looking to fade, at least until he gets later in the year, is Jimmy Walker, who's around that range. I know you've been off him really to start this year.
Yeah, Jimmy is normally okay in Hawaii, and then he'll falter off for a little bit, and then once we get into Texas, that's when you should go back onto Jimmy again. Um, for this week, yeah, at 8,500 with Paul Casey right there, with Sergio, Patrick Reed just above him. I'm just going to have to fade Jimmy for the league. He may play well. He has good course history here, but with so many good guys around him, I'm just going to fade him.
I mean, would you reserve him for a GPP at all? If maybe a shot in the dark?
Yeah, if you're playing 50 lineups, maybe put him in one or two lineups just to make sure that you actually have a piece of the pie if he actually plays well.
Right. I mean, as you said, that core history holds up, and he can do that. I mean, you're probably getting single-digit ownership as well.
Yeah, I would guess he'll be less than 10% owned for sure.
Yeah. As far as the rest of the guys in the 8K range, I mean, Patrick Reed playing well, 8,800. I mean, is he worth the price tag?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go back to him. Again, from last week, he's very consistent with his irons. He's usually around the 70% mark with his screens. So as long as he gets his putter hot, he'll contend every week, I just say. And yeah, at 8,800, that's a fair price for him.
As far as the lower 8K guys go, I mean, you have Schwartzel, Haas, Kuchar, Lowry, Mickelson, all kind of around that same price range. Any guys you're on? Any guys you're looking to fade in that grouping?
I like to play Charles Schwartzel just a little bit. The only concern is that he was in Malaysia last week. He did miss the cut, so hopefully he jumped on a plane that Friday night and came over to the U.S. that way. He's more used to the time change and whatnot. He's one of the top guys with his irons. He's hitting over 80% of the screens. So I would pick him over the other guys right now.
And I mean, 7K, through 8K, it just seems like there's a lot of guys in there where you're going to be kind of plugging them in with those two top guys. I'm just looking through names here. I mean, Ryan Moore, I know you have listed in your article. Charles Howell, once again, very cheap in that mid range where you can, he's just been really consistent to start out the year.
Yeah, Howell again is probably a good cash play for this week. he has an okay course history here, but when he does make the cut, he's usually in the top 20 for the most part. So with that, I kind of like him for a cash play option, and then Brian Moore would be my tournament play. For some reason, a lot of people just don't like playing him. He always seems to play under the 10% mark ownership. So at 7,300, all you need for him to do is make the cut and finish inside like the top 30, which he is very capable of.
Mark Leishman, Brent Snedeker, I mean, both 7,600. I feel like really reasonable price tags for two guys that have been playing pretty well to start out the year. I mean, Snedeker, 3 top 10s, this season. So, I mean, he's been really solid. And I think the price came down from the last time he was out.
Yeah, last week, Snedeker was 10,000, if you could believe it.
Yeah,
I mean, now he's at 7,600. So why is he at 7,600? I have no idea. It was the same thing as Justin Rose being at 84 this week. Those two guys, I mean, you kind of have to play them. They're both in the top 25 in the world. There's really no reason for them to be that cheap for this week. Sneds is way better than Ches Reavie, Martin Laird, Keegan Bradley as well. I mean, I would pick Sneds over all these guys right now.
In the lower 7K range, I mean, I find guys that intrigue me here. Brendan Steele, who's been running hot this year. JB Holmes, I know who you like a lot. Brooks Koepka. I mean, 3 big names kind of right there. Even Kevin Na. I mean, right there, low 7K range. It just seems like it's kind of set up for you almost.
Yeah, this might be the range where the ownership will start to spread out slightly. You got people liking Brooks Koepka at 7,100. He likes making birdies. The only problem with me for him is that he has no course history for this week, and I feel that you need to play here once or twice in order to get the terrain and get used to the greens. And the guy above him, JB Holmes, I mean, he's been very consistent this year so far. He's made all of his cuts, and he's been hitting it close to 70% for his greens, and he's one of the longer hitters as well as Koepka. Yeah, and I think longer hitters might have an advantage for this week with the weather.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of weather, I mean, that was something we were looking at a little bit before. It looks like Thursday is going to be okay. Friday, Saturday might be a little bit troublesome. So something that you'll need to kind of keep an eye on throughout the week here.
Yeah, usually for me, I like to look at the weather Tuesday night just to get a good glimpse of it, and then I will really look into it Wednesday night, because then that way you can actually see what the winds are doing both Thursday and Friday, and that will give you an idea whether you should stack 2 times or not.
Yeah, and it's always one thing to consider. I mean, sometimes I've been caught in that mess where it's like I got a bunch of afternoon guys or a bunch of morning guys. I'm like, oh man, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, that's what happened to me last week. I had 3 guys in my core that played at Pebble Beach on Thursday, and Thursday was the day that they were getting drenched on, and they were also calling for wind gusts up to like 30, 35 miles per hour, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And Pebble Beach is the most open of the 3 courses, and yeah, the 3 guys just got behind the 8 ball very quickly. So that's the mistake that you get for not paying attention to the weather.
And it looks like this one's going to be a wet one at some point, so certainly keep an eye on that. Back to a kind of quick pick I asked you before we hopped on. If you got a favorite Kai below 7K, and you didn't mind Hadwin at 6,600.
Yeah, Hadwin for me is a guy to go back to. He's the only problem I have with him is that this is his 5th week in a row playing. It's just going back to what I said about Simpson last week. Guys playing in their 5th or 6th week in a row, for some reason, they tend to get a little tired and they don't perform as well. But with that being said, Hadwin hasn't missed a cut yet, and he's been on form with his putters. So I'm still going to have shares of him just in case he does play well. But it's only going to be like 5-10% of my shares.
And it seems like with the way pricing set up this week, it's not necessarily, it's not a need to kind of go dive down below 7K.
Right, exactly. It kind of looks like just pick 3 to 5 guys that you like, maybe below 7, and then each one of those guys 5 to 10% of exposure for your lineups if you're creating multi-entry. And then from there, just focus on the low 7 guys and the $8,000 range.
Yeah, and as we kind of wrap things up, I mean, as we usually do, get your top pick that you're looking to get the win this week, and also your dark horse. I mean, I'm assuming Matsuyama or Johnson's probably one of your guys to come away with a win.
Well, normally, yes, I think, but going a little cheaper, I would say Justin Rose might win it. Just being that cheap, I think something's going to happen, and yeah, he could win it all for this week. So.
All right, well, catching me off guard. So
yeah.
Anyone else? I mean, your dark horse, you got a name that maybe a lot of people wouldn't normally pick to win this one?
Yeah, I got JB Holmes for my dark horse. He's the driving distance guy, and with the weather coming in, they're going to do the lifting in place, and he hits a lot of greens. So I believe JB Holmes might do well this week, and he could actually win.
Yeah, and he's been a guy who's been playing well. I mean, inside the top 35 over his last 3. So, I mean, it seems like he's kind of due at this point.
Yeah, he's on form for sure.
If you want to check out Chris's article, you can head on over to DaveFantasyCafe.com and check out his GPP picks for this week. And be sure to check out our PGA Golf Optimizer for DraftKings.